curious, what happens next with that, proposed rule?
The deductibles,
The deductible, yeah.
the next item is passing the resolution.
Oh, okay.
Um. So, under board,
Has anything been done about the lake, the boat launch, where it's washing away? It really needs to be addressed.
not yet.
Okay, it really does.
Yes, yeah.
And then the dock, fell in, the docks, there's a big old gap between the dock
I
and
got pictures of that and
Okay.
a piece of metal on the other one that is covering it that
Okay.
needs to go there.
okay,
It's
thank you.
on the agenda,
Next.
not this agenda. The DPW agenda. Under old business, insurance deductible. Move the resolution.
Do you want it or you want somebody?
Well. Okay. Whereas the village of Rundle from time to time during the maintenance of its roads and real property causes damage to roadside vehicles, and whereas the village is not liable for non-intentional damage caused by the operation of its emergency vehicles in emergency circumstances, such as the clearing of snow, whereas the board of trustees believes it to be in the best interest of the community to assist those pulling vehicles damaged by the village in emergency situations. Now, therefore, it is resolved that a public hearing be held with respect to the proposed. Oops, we already did that. So. I make a motion to accept changes to chapter 168 vehicle and traffic straight down.
Second.
As outlined. Discussion?
You need to email this to Eric. I just copied the link. You use a different code. You're using a different meeting code.
Really?
Yes. Can you email that? Copy the link to see what's okay.
Copy the link.
I copied it already, so you said paste it.
All right. Text it,
No, just email it to him,
email it.
or you can text it to him. Yeah.
City rep before this week and research there on Monday. All right, so let's see what Monday.
We haven't done that. We've not voted. Yeah. Yes. Yes.
Well, yes. I mean, so. The public deadline.
Is that resolution count as the local law?
I'm sorry?
Does this resolution count towards the local law?
Is that kid, he did it here? Is what? Is it kid that had it? Is it a man? Yeah. Some kid that did something like that.
No, it should.
So the shoe is right. That was safe. It would.
Then you got that whole stick about it, like adding particles.
Kind of leak out like that. I got it.
Yeah, well, I mean,
While it's kind of hard. Very, that way it's just gonna tube in there and all inside the building. Don't worry about it, you know?
Yeah.
Hooking it up later.
Hi, Eric.
Very dapper looking.
He looks kind of like 1950.
Yeah.
Thank you. Now the real look.
Eric, we're just waiting for your vote on the insurance and deductibles.
Okay. Yes, I agree with that resolution.
Can't vote this way. He's attending as a
Oh.
citizen,
Okay.
because we have a policy in place that designates when someone can appear by remotely.
Do you have sniffles? Have you taken a COVID test?
In San Francisco, though.
Mom says no.
All right, sorry. All right, so that's Done and dusted, as they say. Next on the agenda is the Crown Atlantic Cable Contract, the fifth addendum to option and lease agreement. Tom answered the burning question of the other, offer from the other entity.
Yep.
That, once we finalize this, you will send a copy to them and say you see them and ask them to raise.
What I need is for us to approve of that agreement.
Yeah.
But not vote on, just a straw vote, and then 2 weeks from now, either accept it or decline it. But we've got competition and they're saying we'd like to find out this agreement. I don't want to close the door on that by accepting and directing it. There is something, so I just want to straw poll. Does anybody see any changes to what was circulating earlier today?
At this time, with this being the only offer that we have, the addendum that is would be something that I'd be.
Yeah, I just think,
Given that there's no other competing bid.
just see what the low
That
back.
already approved an agreement to amend
Yes.
with bullet points. And my comparison of that with this document leads me to conclude that this document is faithful to those earlier representations that it already approved. So I think substantively we're there. So can I go to market with this draft?
Yes.
And under new business, fire department training stipend, which comes from the existing fire department training budget. So it has no cost to the village general budget. They need this passed in order for them to allow them to offer training stipends for firefighters. Take various classes.
So this resolution will direct that the fire department establish standards and kind of bring them back to us to approve. But it's a necessary first step.
Whereas New York State Administrative Code has been amended to add Part 215 to Title IX of New York's Code of Rules and Regulations to allow a village which provides fire protection services to authorize training stipends for volunteer firefighters. Now therefore it is resolved that pursuant to 22 NYCRR 25.4B, the village board of trustees requires the fire department to establish minimum standards and requirements for eligibility and processing of a local fire training stipend as defined in 22 CC 215.2D.
Second.
Second, discussion?
Yes.
Jason?
Yes. Yes.
Amend personnel policy. Motion to amend personnel policy as follows. A, hiring policies. And preference may be given to residents or to those living within 10-mile drive of the village.
10 minutes.
10 minutes.
10 minutes. Sure. Thank you. B, employee evaluations. And upon satisfactory evaluations, employees shall be entitled to an annual raise based on the average CPI for June through December of the current budget year. For the 24-25 budget year, full-time employees will receive an additional inflation adjustment of 3% in addition to their usual 2%. Under vacation, delete the content in red and replace with the content in green. Okay, the content in green, which is borrowed from the Malta personnel book. Full-time employees who have been in continuous service of the village for 1 year shall accrue 10 days on the anniversary date of their hiring. 7 years shall accrue 15 days on the anniversary date. 12 years shall accrue 20 days on the anniversary date. 20 years shall accrue 25 days on the anniversary date. And 25 years shall accrue 30 days on the anniversary date of their hiring. under D, holidays, add Juneteenth to the list of paid holidays. Change it to go into effect, as of June 5th. Do I have a second?
You've got one more thing on this next page, I'll carry over.
Oh, no, that's separate. Oh, is it? Okay. So it's not in the first one. We have separate discussion.
Yeah. What do we get, what do we offer at holidays now? How many days?
The red.
Yeah.
Holiday like days off.
Yeah. I'm just, my point being, we're adding another holiday. In a lot of instances, when you trade off for the new holidays, you know, unions have to, and other groups have to give back a holiday. In other words, there's only so many holidays you're gonna tolerate in a municipality or government. And so I'm just wondering, how many we offer now?
We offer 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. New Year's, Martin Luther King, President's Day, Memorial Day, Independence Day, Labor Day, Columbus Day, Veterans Day, Thanksgiving Day, and Christmas Day.
So we offer 10 and we're adding another.
Those are all state observed holidays. That's basically what,
These are federal.
federal, yes.
I'm not sure about Juneteenth, is that?
I believe June.
Is it?
Both federal and state,
Yeah.
it's both federal and state, but then New York State implemented it before the federal government.
It's federal, we don't really got choice.
Right.
Right.
I think this is basically just adding what's already technically law into our personal
Okay.
policy. As far as that.
I just think that's probably like,
Law, not give those things off.
Okay, yeah.
It's done. And generally,
For
the
state,
communities follow the county and the county follows the state,
okay,
but it's not required.
it's not required for municipalities to give
I don't
that.
have to get Christmas Day.
maybe we could have a meeting.
That's right.
No, I don't really have an issue with it. I mean, I just think,
Is there a holiday that you would trade?
is there a holiday you would trade and what's the, you know, the tolerance level? And now we're gonna have no Shens thinking about the religious holiday for the Muslim community and all those kind of stuff. I just, you know, when are you gonna feel like
Do you want to talk about it, or do you want to make a specific?
that?
proposal?
But we may have to make it at some point, say we'll follow the federal holiday.
Yeah, something.
schedule. Right, there was some discussion about the CPI.
Yes,
Yes.
Changing that, and that's a better way of doing that.
yeah, so my suggestion would be to give us some flexibility on that, still use CPI as guidance for where we would put salary raises, but to give us some flexibility from a budgetary standpoint to allow either 1 or 2% within that number. The second question I had is why didn't we use June to December specifically? Okay.
Looking for data.
So I would
Changing it from month to month, so I didn't know.
I would change that to prior years, CPI. And, my,
Sit in a second. Sorry.
So this says based upon the prior year's CPI.
it's
So
a,
I
yeah,
don't think that mandates that we follow the CPI. I think
Yes.
it only mandates that we, take a look at it. and
okay,
use that as the basis.
okay, if that's good, if from your point of view as an attorney, if that gives us flexibility, then that's fine with me.
So would that be a number that has to be talked about and voted upon every year?
Yeah,
Be based upon number?
it would be. If we certainly had that it was, you know, a raise, providing, cost of living increase, equal to the prior year CPI, we wouldn't need to do that. You know, our treasurer would simply run the numbers and put but this will require the board to take a look.
That makes sense.
The full-time employees, you got four, right? Six. You guys are full-time?
Yeah. Personnel, but considered full-time.
How many hours, are you in the office? 30? And how many hours did the DPW go?
40. It's in our policy that 30 hours is considered.
Yeah, I get it, but I'm having a little, agita. It looks as though this is a one-shot, right, for the 24-25 budget year. Full-time employees are gonna get 3%, 2%, and a CPI.
No, CPI is going forward.
Okay, going forward, okay, so this is a one-shot, right? This is not written into, okay, correct.
I think, now that I've listened to Tom too, the way that it's written, is essentially has the board take a look at CPI each year to make sure that we are doing our due diligence with respect to keeping up with that the salaries don't get behind in terms of inflationary pressures, but we have no obligation to raise them by that much. But this is but what we are agreeing to do is basically a 5% increase for this year, which is basically what CPI is.
Okay.
And, so the June, December stay in or not?
I would say prior year,
Right.
CPI for prior year?
yes. Only because CPI does vary through the course of a year. There are reasons why inflation may be different in summer months compared to winter months. So I think it's useful to use a 12-month benchmark.
Yes, Tom.
Why only full-time employees? Why not your faithful and hardworking part-time employees to receive that same percentage?
Hard time, somebody else want to take that? Do I gotta work?
Well, I guess my tolerance level is being taxed a little bit. I mean, this is 5% raise, that's not bad. I know that you got the inflation stuff and everything else, but, and I know what the DPW guys make, they're all in the $50,000 range, except for John. Who deserves? Does everybody deserve the same thing? Or do jobs mean different things? Skill levels, time on the job, 40 hours versus 30. She has certain skills, for example, Eric has certain skills. The DPW guys have a whole different set of skills. Are we gonna treat everybody equally? Or are we gonna allow, and this goes to your question, or are we gonna allow the flexibility to say, look, you're a part-time guy and you don't like it? I mean, I don't think we gotta give you 5, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe everybody disagrees. What about Sharon?
Are we allowed to?
Minimum wage.
What about Sharon and whoever else you got on the pick?
Trustee?
If I may,
50%.
All right, y'all. Do they put less effort and skill into their jobs than the DPW does?
No. I wouldn't think so, and it's not the ones to be part-time design. Don't put less, it's probably put more. I mean, I think, you crank this stuff out every day. God said in that regard, but I don't know, do you treat everybody the same way, or is there some flexibility among the board to say, this position is woefully underpaid. So instead of giving 2%, we're gonna give 10%. Just to this person.
if I can, am I allowed to jump in?
Eric, sorry, Eric. Go ahead.
Well, I didn't know if I'm actually an observer or a board member for this, but what I would say is there's 2 parts, right? Or maybe even 3. Inflation and the CPI link affects everybody equal, no matter what their skill set is. So therefore, that would apply evenly. And then normally there are performance measures that, if you meet your performance measures, some people get 2% raise, some people get 5% raise based on their previous performance. And they're two separate items. And then I would say, based on what you were just saying, Tom, if somebody is woefully underpaid, then we ought to just readdress the fact that they're woefully underpaid rather than trying to adjust it through an inflation modifier.
Well, I can tell you, do we have performance reviews, at all?
We did them, and then they kind of fell apart during
Right.
COVID. And we haven't really picked them up, but made sure that was added in this, that any future raises are based on satisfactory performance.
Right, well, the throwback to that is, and I did it, I had to do them when I had staff at the tax department. Unless you're, what is satisfactory, it's different to different people. And you have to be unbiased. You might not like the guy, but he comes to work every day. And he works, but I don't like him because he's this or that. We don't get along. How do you take your bias out of stuff with a small staff? I don't know. I'm just throwing these things out. I always found the evaluations horrible. They were horrible. Everybody got the same thing every year. And it was just a perfunctory administrative brush paint job. Get everybody out of here, we gotta do this. Unions say we gotta do it.
If we're going to be giving a cost of living raise, do we have to give a performance-based raise, or do we set the whole raise across the board just based on like a performance raise based on the CPI? Or any average
In the
CPI?
past, we've basically automatically been giving 2% raises.
Right.
To be honest, I thought that was in the personnel policy. I reread it again and couldn't find anything in there about it. So it's just, it was like a little bit of practice.
Right.
So maybe we want to consider that 2% as the performance part, and then an additional CPI inflation component.
Yeah.
To be determined every year.
Yeah, every year.
So if we had 5% inflation 1 year, and it might end up getting a 7%
Yeah.
satisfactory. And I don't think we'll have any deflation, so we won't be taking them back.
I would agree with that, but I think we're still, Tom,
How many part-time employees do we have?
Tom, Peter, Sharon. We got the cleaners. We're not talking a huge amount of money.
but we are talking about, like you two are, you're not 1099, you're not contractors, you work with the village.
Right,
Right.
I don't get any benefits, no
Right.
vacation, no health insurance. Or,
But Phyllis might, she gets a 1099. She contracts with the village.
right,
Well, here's the deal, so the language that we have is upon satisfactory evaluation, employees shall be entitled to an annual raise based on CPI. So that's the first piece of language, so that covers all employees, full-time and part-time. The second part says, for this budget year, full-time employees will receive an additional 3%. So what I think we're saying with this, I think the spirit behind this was, again, it was the feeling of the board that the DPW may have fallen behind again. And so we're doing a one shot this year, but I think going forward, what this language says is that all employees would be entitled to increase based on, so that's sort of a middle of the road position.
Yeah.
addressing full-time employees
Yeah.
right now, but going forward, it will affect the policy with that policy.
So nothing for the part-timers this year.
I mean, I'm not,
Yeah, I know, I'm not trying to be.
This year, I mean, the 24-25.
25. I think we gotta make a figure out a distinction, how we treat people who. I mean, I know the 1099 people, the contract, they get what they get, and. You know, we got a couple of people here who are kind of in the netherworld, but. You know, they're not full-time, maybe they're part-time, but maybe they're not. And I don't know how we deal with it.
I mean, we're talking about 3% of a small number.
Right, I know.
At the end of the day,
At the end of the day, I gotta.
and then we can, going forward, it applies to everybody anyway, so
Yeah.
we're really talking about 3% of
Okay.
the off number. You can walk on over the side of the page.
So where are we with 24?
Well, okay, we'll strike the word full-time, I think.
Yeah,
I agree with that.
yep, I.
Because the first clause covers all employees anyway.
I think it's only fair to cover all employees. If you're an employee,
Yeah.
you're not a certain, because you don't work full time.
Because do you have any changes?
The changes that we just did. I'd like to the notes, meaning what is the formal is going forward. If this is current and then going forward. In the next year, so.
The two changes are basically CPI is going to be based on the full prior year and striking the word full-time from the second sentence.
Yeah.
That's it, right? There's no other changes.
Okay.
All right,
I have a quick question. Has anybody actually done the math to see what the impact of this is to our budget?
I did, it was like, I want to say it was like, not including John, it was like $7,000 or something like that. Forget the exact number, it wasn't a big number. I did,
And our
it sent the number out, but I can't remember the exact number, but I did run it.
as long as our general fund can accommodate it.
Yes.
we can
Yeah.
identify the area in which it can be. Okay, yes, Jason?
Yes.
Matt?
Yes,
Yes.
it's under 10,000 area.
Okay, thanks.
Next, the superintendent salary. Motion to amend the salary of the DPW superintendent to $40.87 per hour.
So moved. Second.
Discussion?
Just that we're doing this, we're getting at least a year.
That's the understanding.
Okay. Yes.
Jason?
Yes.
Yes.
Budget transfers for the new fiscal year. In, funds unspent in the previous fiscal year, which ended May 31st, roll over into the current year's unrestricted fund balance, the UFB. So in order to finish up continue some projects, I request a resolution to transfer the following unspent funds, which are the amount of which is in the column labeled leftover, from UFB to the same account in the current fiscal year. So A 141014 clerk contractual for 5,000, A 1430.4 training and conferences 5,800, A 1620.42 building maintenance, A 5112.4 road construction contractual, 5132.4 garage contractual, 5132.41 garage equipment maintenance, 5132.42 garage building maintenance, 3,000, and 8140.4 stormwater contractual, 22,000.
So moved. Second.
Discussion?
Just so I'm clear, so we're taking this money's currently in the unfunded, unrestricted fund balance from 23-24.
Yeah.
Okay, and we're gonna take it out of 23-24 and push it into
Into the
these,
same code.
the same.
For example,
We're basically moving it back.
And
the
move it.
biggest one, 22,000, there's a drainage project and saying that needs to be done. It's gonna cost money, so
Yeah.
basically saving it. this
Yeah, I got it.
year, putting it
Put it, okay,
in that.
thank you.
Alrighty, do we have a second?
I did.
Discussion? That wasn't discussion.
Yes.
Jason?
Yes.
Matt?
Yes,
Yes. And the DEC tree grant we received required that the village put forth a partial match of $20,000 in order to receive the 74,000 from the state. The grant is a reimbursement grant. The budget transfer requested below will allow us to start spending the funds once the contract is approved by the Attorney General's office. And once we get going, the reimbursements we get from DEC can be used to replenish the funds. So in order to facilitate the DEC tree grant, I request a resolution to transfer the following unspent funds from UFB to the following funds in visitor fund. This is a little different because we're taking them out of, for example, 8560.4 spring maintenance. There's 20,000 in there left over from last year, because we didn't do any because we knew we had this grant, but we couldn't start spending it yet. So I'd like to transfer that into A7110.2 park equipment. And similarly, A8710.4 conservation, 17,000. We didn't spend, we only spent about 3,000 of that on plants and stuff like that. Again, for the same reason, because we have this big grant. So I'd like to take that and put it into a parks contractual code, where it's easier to spend money, spending it on parks, either equipment or contractual.
Are we adding $17,000 to $9,000 that's already in there?
Yes, that's what, thank
So
you.
what about the 26,000?
Right. That's what the grant is. Thank you. That's what we allocated in 24-25. So we'd end up with 35,000 park equipment and 26 in park contraction.
and this will all be reimbursed once we spend it, is that, or half, or one,
Up to 74,000.
up to 74,000.
Second.
All right, discussion? Tom?
Yes.
Jason?
Yes.
Matt?
Yes,
Yeah. We have a carpe diem request. They're requesting that one of the tents be taken down mid-July and that they be allowed to bring in an empty trailer to allow children to change costumes in a more appropriate manner. There's the same type of trailer that the Clifton Park players use for their performances. Last year, the tent got flooded and the side panel got blown away at inopportune moments. The trailer is around 8x32 and will be placed parallel to the odd to the left of the eastern entrance and extending to where Brady is holding out his arms. And in front of you is the explanation and why they are requesting it, that they just sent today.
fine by me, we can recommend for this, or just,
Now, just
blessing,
blessing, I want to make sure it's okay with everybody for.
yeah. Maybe requiring that they, do anything to repair the area, or,
How are they going to power set the trailer? Because the trailer will require power.
Just for months.
Usually the trailers take a larger than a lead cord plug-in. I've wired up many office trailers. They're usually either 240 volt 30 amp or a little more, depending on the particular trailer, because they usually have air conditioning and heat.
Just want to be able to text them if I can questions.
Especially during the July and August months, that trailer will be about 900 degrees.
That means they're-
And that matter.
What?
I think they're earlier, Kirk end is earlier.
July,
July 26th to August.
Your third performance period.
This is the sort of thing that a mayor can do without consulting the
Right,
board.
right.
Greatly, would suggest that if we're gonna try this, that that you include somewhere an email so that we have something written that they will return the
Yes,
lawn to the condition beforehand. I think our main protection is that they're gonna wanna do this next year. And so they'll have to be on good behavior.
that would be my concern.
I just said I would do any more damage than hundreds of tanks, I guess. They're empty trailers, basically. They're not like freezer trailers.
To Jason's point, is our power sufficient to make this all run?
I could, yes, in essence, we could connect the trailer to there. It would have to be, I would have to take a look and see exactly how. If they're putting it on the left-hand side, I'm trying to think. What the best, we might be able to get out underneath, because that's crawl space, get like an SCR cable out and sleep it in conduit to the trailer. But I would say that would be on part ADM to bring in an electrician to do the temp power hookup. That would be a cost they have to incur. And I do know where it can get hooked up. I know where there's free space. There, I would say they could come talk to me and Dan, and we could definitely assist.
No, we don't want them to burn down the building.
They wouldn't want something like that, but Jenny would.
They could,
Yeah.
but I wouldn't recommend it.
No, I'm just wondering if that's their intention as well, I think using the purpose that not,
Probably not,
okay,
because it's performance.
Yeah.
You can't run a generator with the noise.
I would recommend a sign off by electrical underwriter.
yeah.
Yes, any connection would have to be,
Yeah.
even if it is a temporary install, it would have to be inspected by a third-party inspector. Because it is a safety issue.
And the cost of keeping it cool thoroughly would have been substantial or.
Probably not
Okay.
marginal, and that could be something that you tell them if they want to bring this in, they have to pay an extra $100 to hook up to our electrical system, whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever negotiated parameters.
Got all that in there?
Yeah. I just know that, those trailers get really hot.
All right, so I'll keep you posted, what I find out and, otherwise in the straw poll. We navigate.
Yep.
I'll work with Sharon on figuring out a cost. And my goodness, we're down to correspondence. Any correspondence?
We're not doing anything, about the, auditorium director and stuff, so.
Oh, yeah, we've had two people, I don't remember what I sent around. We've had two people who are interested in kind of doing it together. One, David Strait working with Sharon and Molly, kind of working on the local kind of events. So as far as salary, breaking up the salary, I don't know, we'd have to work something out. So, okay, I'd like to maybe set up a meeting with the two of them and Sharon, if you want to be there,
Okay,
and try to work something out.
Try to figure something out. Because if David's gonna shadow her, you gotta give him something. But it's only, we only for the season.
Right.
And then you'd be gone. He'd be there.
That's kind of how Sharon wants to.
Yeah,
be
yeah.
involved and-
Yeah, no, I just thought we gotta do some formal hiring or something, or do we even, the board doesn't have to do that.
Yeah, well, it's not like we're only running with applicants.
I know, yeah. Yep.
So,
I just would really like to be involved since up till this point in June, I've been working with every artist and every person who is going to be in that auditorium. And I feel like I have a responsibility towards that. I would go with David till the end of September.
oh, okay. So I will.
So I would like to jump in and say, this is pretty important. We've already holding events and we don't have the volunteers organized and parking organized, and we have events scheduled next weekend already, right? Don't we, Sharon?
We have a lot,
There's an open,
Events this weekend.
there's an open mic and.
there's an open mic
Is
and
the
there's
botanicals,
a tea and tour
the botanicals,
Thursday.
and the what?
the botanicals are what the.
That's next week, yes.
Okay.
Well, my understanding is the village put out those positions and no one responded. Am I right on that?
That is correct.
I've gone to several people and have asked personally, and they were all not this year. So I think you're right, Eric, it's a village decision about how we go forward with that. We can probably organize, if it's David and I working together, we can probably organize the volunteer part of it. The parking part is another whole different issue.
Well, I mean, I get Eric's point. I mean, he's saying, look, we don't have anybody to do this and we're already starting the season. So.
Very full season.
Yeah, so why don't we gather the people who are most involved, close to this, settle it and get them out there. Get them working.
Okay. Okay to do that.
Yeah, I mean,
Correspondence.
The only thing I have is that funny phone call from the guy whose feet was burning and he was just, it was very silly, but he called and he was very concerned about the status of the water in the lake. And that his comment was, he gets out of the lake and he heads home and his feet are burning, like chemical burns, and we're gonna kill the fish. And I just asked him what his shoes were. And
what was he swimming?
he was kayaking
Oh.
and in the water, but it turned like, so he was wearing brand new neoprene boat shoes. And I just told him to check the content of his shoes.
Maybe he's got something else.
He called me a little while later and said, before you drain the lake and save the fish, I think I'm gonna take your word on that. I'm gonna check out the shoes. It was just kind of funny, and it was like the funny story of the week.
You must have a very interesting job description.
We have a board with,
Yeah,
that records all these,
He's a braver man than I.
but he called back and said, whoa, wait, before you drain the lake.
okay, village attorney, any word with them?
No,
Couple announcements. Village water main flushing starts Monday, June 10th. You may experience low water pressure or no water pressure. You may experience discoloration of water. However, at no time is the water unsafe to drink. And number two, looks like Jamondo will finish the concrete ramp this week and seal it next Monday the 10th. Round Lake Ford will start site fabrication and installing the aluminum railing on the 17th. Should have everything completed by the 21st, just in time for the Antiques Festival on the 22nd. I'd like to thank Peter for his continuing efforts in organizing this and getting it done. And the village trustees.
Two things, I wanted to make sure we didn't forget about the, RB1 zoning, proposal that we kind of circulated, but we've never discussed. So I just thought I'd see if we can get it on the agenda for next time, or everybody should read it. At least get an idea where we're going with this. That's one thing. The other thing is, and I noticed this the other day, and she didn't ask me to do anything, but Danielle was out on Barn Alley, maintaining that little bit of arborvitae or whatever kind of trees we planted up, but in the middle of it, everything's dead. And she said to me, I was asking her, I've been maintaining it, blah, blah, blah. But she said, I think the salt is coming down and killing the two things, the middle part, she said, and the other part of it isn't growing. And I didn't know whether we could either do something to mitigate the flow of the salt, or maybe just do something over there. Is there a low fence you could?
No, there's something we can do.
Okay,
I,
and I just,
she's been.
yeah, she didn't ask me.
I
Yeah,
kept forgetting.
I just thought he's a private citizen doing this.
Size.
Yeah,
You know, that it's not the run.
right, so, yeah. That's all.
Jason?
We just have 2 sets of minutes in front of us. I don't know if we were approving those, this meeting, or if we were, hold it. Hey. They're out. Great.
I'm gonna hold off.
Okay. That did.
We actually.
I was not even here, so I was just. Get them on the plate.
And public comments? Public comment?
I just have one. In regard to the Carpe Diem people, can we add to what we're going to add, whatever, that they are responsible for keeping this trailer clean, that we are not going to go in it at all?
You would have to sit down.
But
Come up with-
I just don't want that to go to by the wayside.
If you remember, I have what he said. All right, I will.
Jim had.
Oh,
I was under the impression when I talked to Peter earlier that ramp had been modified to put heat pipes in it so instead of pouring salt on it every time, you have a heater inside the building, a hot water heater, and when you know it's gonna snow, you turn it on and the thing heats up and melts the snow off there. Even if you just put tubes in for now, I would really strongly encourage that, 'cause that's what destroys the rails, that's what destroys all of it, is the salt. And the pipe would be like $120, and then you could do that now and not, do the heat part later. I don't know, talk to that guy and see, it'll take like an hour to put the pipe in.
Yeah, well, that's gonna do tomorrow.
Yeah, because I mean, that would mitigate them, it would make it so you would never have to salt out there. And when you do the front steps, I'd say do them too, because that way you just flip on a switch. And then it never gets icy or snow, that would make life a lot easier on the guys from the DPW, people walking up and down the ramp, and stuff will last a lot longer.
all right, thank you.
Because
Good
that's,
idea, and I'd just like to add to that, we have to make sure that whatever kind of pipe is installed, it's gonna cover the hole with the.
well, yeah, you space it out,
Space that.
right, 4 apart, there's a typical way to do it, right?
It looks like, the piping looks like PEX.
Right, it is packed.
Put it in.
It's oxygen barrier.
Yeah.
Okay, it's a different kind, it's not just a plumbing pipe, when it's meant for heat,
Yeah.
and you put it right in concrete, and hook it right to whatever meshes in there.
We don't even have to hook it up.
Right now, right, and it's cheap to do, so. Yeah, because I mean, once that concrete's poured, they're not doing it then.
Okay, thank you. like entertaining motions to enter executive session for the medical, financial, credit, or employment history of a particular person or corporation, et cetera, et cetera.
I'll move that.
Second.
Basis ahead.
Yes.
Thank you, everybody.
You said, Lisa, you got to pay the dry.
What's that?
We send you the heating bill for the ranch.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be cheaper than salt, and I can guarantee.
Oh, I guarantee you that.
You know?
It's been quiet, bro.
Yes.
You probably need to turn off the Zoom record too.
Yeah, it's just a fire department application. All right, so don't take it personally, Eric. If I end the meeting,
All right, thanks.
enjoy your time.
See ya.
Bye-bye.
Enjoy whatever you're doing.